a lot of controversies have happened to do with Pokemon in the many, many years it's been around, but which is the most controversial controversy? Which is the highest tier? Today, we're going to be looking at most of the Pokemon controversies and ranking them based on how controversial, how impactful, and how interesting we think each controversy was. I am not going to be doing it alone, though. See, I have two tier lists open right now, and chat will be making one while I'll be making the other. So the live stream chat will be making the controversial tier list. I'll be making one. That's how we're going to do this. So the first controversy that we are starting off with today is the Porygon episode, which caused 685 seizures in people who were triggered with epilepsy in Japan. Eventually, the episode was completely taken down and recut, but it was never ever shown again. And Porygon has never had a place in the Pokemon anime since then. Poor Porygon, because technically it was Pikachu's fault that happened. But what do we think? How impactful was this? How interesting of a controversy is this really? Chat has decided that this is a B tier controversy. I think I'm gonna put it in A tier because it is like a really well-known controversy. Poor Porygon has been dunked on ever since. I think it's an A tier. It had a really wide-ranging effect. People were scared to let their kids watch the anime after this. Like, this was a big deal back in the day. So I'd say it's probably A tier on terms of the controversial scale. Next up is Burger King toys. Now, I'm gonna turn off the music for a second there because this is actually a very serious subject because a 13-month-old child actually suffocated on a Burger King Pokeball toy that came in a Burger King Happy Meal. Or sorry, a Burger King Kids Meal or whatever. Like, I don't know who's buying Burger King meals for 13-month-old children. Seems a bit strange to me, but it ends up with a massive recall on all of their toys and obviously kind of killed the reputation of Burger King in Pokemon for a while because it was a terrible, terrible thing that happened. Now, that seems pretty big and impactful. And I don't know who is doing this. Who is buying Burger King Pokeballs for 13-month-olds? That's not the kind of thing a 13-month-old is supposed to have. What are you doing? Bad parenting at its finest. But chat. So the chat has said it is an A tier controversy, and I have to say I agree because it is insanely impactful. Someone actually died from this, and obviously it had insane impacts on the reputation of Pokemon and Burger King. Again, just why are parents doing this? Why can parents not think about things a little bit? So I'm gonna put it in A tier. I agree with chat here. I think it is A tier. It's also a very, very sad story. Incredibly sad story as well. Next up, why there hasn't been a Kadabra Pokemon card for almost 20 years. If you didn't know, the magician Yuri Geller was upset that Kadabra existed. He said, "Wait, that's me. You've taken my likeness and you're trying to be me." And Pokemon was like, no, we're not. And he filed several lawsuits to try and block the production of any kind of Kadabra-related merchandise. Now, this made me upset because I love Kadabra. It's one of my favorite Pokemon in the entire world. But recently, he said, actually, no, Kadabra is poggers and everyone can do Kadabra things again, which is amazing. That's great news. But for 20 years, there was no Kadabra to be seen, unfortunately. Pretty impactful for the series in terms of one of the Pokemon literally not being able to be used in anything, but what does chat think? It looks like chat has gone with D, which, I mean, I also, again, I do agree with chat. I mean, I'll put it in C tier because I love Kadabra. I think it's interesting that one person was able to block all of this Kadabra-related stuff. For the longest time, you couldn't evolve an Abra into Kadabra. I'm pretty sure there was no way to stop a Kadabra from evolving in a Pokemon game because it just wouldn't let you. If you traded it, it forcibly evolved and you couldn't stop it like you could stop normal evolutions. If that's right, that might be incorrect, but it was pretty interesting. And also, it made me sad because I love Kadabra. So the next controversy is the banned episode 35 of the Pokemon anime. And this always confused me because I always wondered, and maybe you wondered this as well, where did Ash get 30 Tauros from? When did that happen? I thought I watched all the anime episodes and then they talk about Ash getting 30 Tauros and I'm sitting here like, when did this happen? I'm a little bit confused. It happened on a banned episode because a guy was waving around weapons all over the place, pointing guns at Ash, pointing guns at Team Rocket, pointing guns at Misty and Brock. Like, there was guns all over the place, and it got banned. And it was never explained why, and it was never explained where. Ash got all these Toros from. Firearms in a Pokemon TV show, probably not a good idea. 4Kids was like, actually, maybe we shouldn't have this. A very famous controversy as far as the old anime goes, probably next to the titties episode that I don't have on this tier list, but hey, if you want to, rank them as the same thing. Old anime episodes getting banned because of inappropriate content. Chat has said that this is a B tier controversy. I mean, to be honest, I would say, yeah, it goes in about the same place. I would say it's a little bit less interesting to talk about than the Porygon one, but it's pretty crazy when you think about like, oh, they were just like waving guns in the anime at people. That's kind of unexpected, but I would say it's maybe more of a C tier for me personally. Satanism claims
Pokemon are demons.
I've done a video on this in the past, but when Pokemon was popular, obviously with anything that becomes popular, people feel the need to latch onto it for their own personal gain. So the church did that exact thing. A lot of priests came out and said, well, I don't know about these Pokemans, brother. They're little monsters that do evolution. Well, that sounds like demons to me. Demons infesting the young minds of our little Christian boys and girls. And a lot of them came out and said that they're demons, and it's terrible. And Pokemon is teaching Satanism to children, and etc., etc., etc. They're demons. Evolution is bad, and you should not play it because all this is terrible, terrible things. Kids should not be able to play this game. Chat has elected to go with D, which I completely disagree with. I think this is the fucking greatest thing in the world. Honestly, I think that the Pokemon being demons thing is not only interesting to talk about because, like, how do you arrive at that conclusion? What is going through the minds of these people? What are they trying to achieve with this? I think it's also a huge thing because since Pokemon was so big back in the day, having actual legitimate things talk about it, like the church be like, actually, Pokemon isn't demons, by the way. Like, the Pope straight up had to come out and say, yeah, Pokemon is okay. So it's pretty impactful because the fucking Pope had to say something, had to chime in on the matter. And it's also very interesting to talk about because you have to wonder, like, what's going through the worm-filled minds of all the people talking about this. We're swapping brain death with brain death. It's PETA! Woo! The company that has had one good take when PETA was like, dude, ethical veganism is not a reason not to get the vaccine, you idiots. The one good take that PETA has had in the history of their existence. But PETA has been constantly all over Pokemon, and since they're a really popular company in the UK and the US and just all over the world recently, they've all over animal rights, saying that Pokemon is abusive, and they even made games about it. And I guess all the animal rights activists were like, is this kind of messed up? I mean, you're kind of taking animals and forcing them to fight against each other, which, hey, maybe there is a point to be made in there. I don't know, but PETA's games, what do we think about that? Is it interesting to talk about? Is it an impactful controversy? What do you guys think? We're so split between A and D that I feel like I need to like meet in the middle. I think probably like B or C is a fair place to put this because it's so split between A and D. There's a lot of split going on here. So I'll put it like bottom of B for you guys. For me, I'm gonna put it into B as well. I think this is super interesting to talk about. The fact that they made 2 games to talk about how Pokemon is abusive, even though the entire idea of the franchise is that they are your friends. It's just so interesting. And the fact that they keep talking about it whenever Pokemon gets relevant again, they're like, come on, don't eat Wooloos and things like that. And everyone's like, shut up, PETA. Stop talking. Here it is. In 2019, they were struggling for relevancy. So they tweeted, while you're waiting for Sword and Shield, play PETA's parody, Pokemon Black and Blue. It's like, when you're struggling for relevancy that bad, like, come on, man. What are you doing? That parody game is like 9 years old. At least make a new relevant one if you're gonna be insufferable garbage. True. Shout out to Dolan Dark for the good take. Well done, sir. Next up is the Pokemon GO controversy, which is to say that when Pokemon GO came out, it was so incredibly popular with everyone around the world that it led to some deaths. People would go out and play it in their cars, which is reckless driving. People would go onto like train tracks trying to catch a Charmander and just do really stupid, dumb things. And it caused a lot of reporting in the news due to how popular it was and people wanting to latch on to something that's popular in order to dunk on it. I'm sure Fox News had a field day with this back in the day. So a lot of people were doing a lot of dumb things when Pokemon GO came out. And yes, it was a very big thing at the time, considering how popular the game was. Although it wasn't really Pokemon GO's fault, it did lead people into areas that they shouldn't have been. Even though they should have known better not to go into it, it was encouraging people to go into areas that they shouldn't go into. But what does chat think about this one? This is so incredibly split. There was one vote separating A and B, but chat thought this was a pretty high tier controversy, so I'll put it high A. It was almost S. There was one vote separating it, but I'll put it into A right there. For me, I agree. Pretty high tier controversy right there, considering like how explosive Pokemon Go was around the world at the time. Everyone was talking about it, and it is like, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, people playing a game so fervently and not paying attention to what's going on around them that it causes them to like get hit by cars and things like that. That's kind of insane. Next up, a little bit of fascist imagery in the Pokemon games. So, if you guys don't know, essentially, one of the sprites for Registeel that you can see right here was doing the same salute that Nazis used to do back when they were a thing before they got ass blasted off the world. Get fucked, idiots. There was a sprite in Generation 3 that was doing the same similar kind of salute. Now, I don't think that they meant to do this. It would be insane if they did this on purpose. I think it was a complete coincidence. Someone just wasn't thinking and it was put into the game. Now, obviously, it's not a thing that should be allowed, and it was changed for European and international releases. But it is very unfortunate that they are put in that position in the first place. Like, oh, someone probably got fired for that one. Do have to be very careful to avoid fascist imagery in your children's video games. If some accidentally slips in there, which, I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to avoid, to be honest, but if some accidentally slip in there, you're gonna get buggered by it. So what does chat think? Where would we put this on the controversial scale? So chat has mostly deviated towards C tier there. A lot kind of like going towards S and A tier. So maybe I'll put this for chat. I'll put this in B, because chat was kind of in the middle. There was a lot of high tier options, but there was a lot of low tier votes as well. So I'll put it in B because that feels like the average there. I honestly, I would put it in C tier. I think it's somewhat impactful because they did have to alter the sprites in different releases. But again, I do think it was a mistake that was done once and they fixed it. I think it was completely unintentional. Someone probably got punished and slapped and thrown out the window. But again, I don't think it really meant that much to the franchise as a whole. I might put it in like a high D, if anything, as well. But I guess it is quite interesting to talk about, even though there's really not much there to say at the same time. But anyway, on to the next one. Gambling. Yes, gambling is a controversial thing for any country to talk about. Now, a lot of countries really don't like gambling. In fact, some countries don't like gambling so much that they would completely ban gambling from the country and any games with gambling in it. Like, I believe Saudi Arabia actually banned any Pokemon games that did have gambling in it, which is why they started to take the game corner out of the game, is because they were like, we gotta stop this. We gotta stop the gamba. We're not allowed to do gamba anymore. And what I'm reading here is the Japanese version of Hot Gold and Soul Silver kept slot machines, whereas in the European countries, because of Peggy changing the way that they rated games, they couldn't have an E for everyone rating while having the gambling in the game, so they were forced to take it out. Unfortunately, it's sad because I did like gambling in this. I thought it was good, and it did get banned in certain countries, and they certainly can't do it nowadays because there's even more countries that would ban it if they did have gambling. But chat, what do you guys think? Okay, so chat has elected to put this one into B tier, and I think this is one that I'm agreeing with chat. I think this is also a B tier controversy because it really impacted the game a lot. Like, it removed several mini games from the game, and it also got the game banned in certain countries. They were like, no Pokemon, no gambling, no thank you, no sir. So it was pretty impactful. I think it's a B tier. Like, there's definitely been more impactful stuff, but that sounds about right to me. Now the last one, ladies and gentlemen, it's Dexit time. Here we go, baby. I'm sure you all know what the Dexit controversy is about. Back in E3 2019, it was announced that not every single Pokemon would be entering Pokemon Sword and Shield, and the community lost their minds. They went hog wild. They couldn't take the idea that their score bunnies would not be able to interact with their Zweilises and their Dinos. Their Ferrothorns would not see the light of day beside their Arillabooms, and it made them go hog wild. People lost their minds. People sent death threats on Twitter at the game developers. They started movements. Hashtag bring back the national Dex. It made news. It made YouTube videos, careers. It made a lot of things, and it made people very, very mad. But if we were gonna rank this as a controversy, where would we put this? Would we say that this is impactful and interesting to talk about controversy? That's up to you guys. This is the final vote. And quite frankly, yes, I think that we are all gonna come to the same conclusion here. Yes, it is an S tier controversy. The first S tier from chat, the second from me, because I just think the demons one was kind of hilarious. But yes, an S tier controversy. Are we, hold on, I'd like to pose this question. Are we just looking at this from the lens of the modern day? In 10 years, are we gonna look back at this controversy in the same way that we look back in all the other ones? Will it still be in our minds? Will we still remember it just as fondly? Is it only important to us because it's so recent, or is it genuinely a turning point for the franchise? Maybe. Will people still care? Will no one care? What will people say about it in 5 or 10 years' time? I don't know. The only way we'll find out is if you subscribe to this channel and also don't leave for the next 5 to 10 years. And also I don't leave for the next 5 to 10 years because, I mean, listen, I've done 10 years so far, and by God, it's drained the life from me. But hey, if you guys did enjoy it, if you like this tier list, subscribe to the channel. And also, I do tier lists on my second channel, as well as reactions and a bunch of other stuff that you should check out. Go ahead and do so. It's all linked in the description. This was recorded live on twitch.tv/Patterrz, where I do stream every single day. If that appeals to you, if you want to be a part of these in the future, because I would not be able to do this without the chat, please do click that twitch.tv/Patterrz link in the description and check us out. I'm sure that you'll like what you see. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you did enjoy your stay, and I'll see you a different day. Bye.